How's everybody doing today? It's good to see you. Everybody good? Let me start off by asking you a question. How many of you bought an AR in the past year? A few more 30-round magazines? How many bought ammo and paid too much for it like I did? You can raise your hands. We've scrambled NSA's recording devices. It's great and it's fun, but friends, with the challenges we face, buying another gun and more ammo is not going to save this freedom. So this morning I want to talk to you about what we must do. But first, let's talk about T-shirts and Pop-Tarts. Just last month, a 16-year-old honor student wore an NRA T-shirt to school. His vice principal gave that young NRA member 3 options: turn the shirt inside out, put duct tape over the words of the Second Amendment, or be suspended. You know what he chose? Suspension. Friends, there's something wrong in our country when a high school honor student is suspended for having resolute pride in our Constitution. Here's another one. Last year, a 7-year-old boy was suspended by his elementary school in Maryland. For bullying? No. For fighting? No. For using foul language? Not this time. He was suspended for chewing his Pop-Tart into the shape of a gun. That's right, a Pop-Tart. It's so outrageous that it's hard to believe, but it actually happened. Let me tell you what should happen now. They should apologize to those families, fire the idiots who made the decisions, and bring those kids back to school. And while they're at it, they should bring God back to school, because he shouldn't have been kicked out either. But folks, this is what we're up against. Gun control groups and PETA infiltrating our schools. Teaching our children that their parents are irresponsible if they own a gun, murderers if they hunt, and downright evil if they belong to the NRA. Brainwashing through fear and intimidation. Bullying our kids. And you know who's bankrolling all of it? Michael Bloomberg. As you've heard, last week he doubled down and bragged that he'll spend $50 million this year. $50 million to elect an anti-gun Senate. He thinks that with enough deceptive TV ads, political contributions, and self-serving press conferences, he can buy the hearts and minds of the American people. He thinks he can buy freedom that countless Americans have given their lives to defend. Let me tell you something. The 5 million members of the National Rifle Association will not allow Michael Bloomberg to lie his way, buy his way, or bully his way into taking our Second Amendment rights. Last week, Bloomberg told the New York Times that Americans think he's a rock star. And he went on to say that if there is a God, when I get to heaven, I'm not stopping to be interviewed. I'm heading straight in. I've earned my place in heaven. It's not even close. Wow. I've looked, but I can't find anywhere in the scripture that says the way to get into heaven is to deny good people their right to defend themselves from criminal attack. I believe that God gave us this freedom, and we're not going to let Michael Bloomberg take it away. Not now, not ever. I actually don't know what's bigger, his bank account, his arrogance, or his hypocrisy. It might be his hypocrisy because he doesn't go anywhere without his team of armed bodyguards. Look, I have no problem with him having armed security. Good for him. The problem I have is that he thinks that his life is worth protecting, but yours is not. To Bloomberg and his mayors, you're just too dumb to be trusted with your freedom. In his mind, we're dumb and they're smart. Well, let's look at his group, Mayors Against Illegal Guns, for a moment. His team of anti-gun geniuses. This is former New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin, that's right, pointing a rifle at his own chief of police. But Mayor Nagin isn't just stupid, he's also a crook. Last February, he was convicted of 20 federal crimes, including wire fraud, bribery, and money laundering. He's just the latest of Bloomberg's mayors who just can't seem to obey the law. And these aren't just petty crimes. We're talking about assaulting police officers, racketeering, child pornography. Maybe Bloomberg should put his $50 million into a legal defense fund for his mayors. You know, it's no mystery that criminals love gun control, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised when politicians who love gun control turn out to be criminals. Just look at Leland Yee. As a state senator, Yee loved gun control, but there was one little problem. Last month, he was busted by the FBI for trafficking in illegal guns. You can't make it up, but here's what the media didn't tell you. When he wasn't trafficking in illegal guns, dealing missiles to Islamic terrorists, or conspiring on drug dealing and murder for hire, Leland Yee was getting awards from the Brady campaign. They even named him their gun control honor roll and gave him an A+ rating. Hypocrisy. It seems to be a way of life for our opponents. One set of rules for them and a different set for us. Like Piers Morgan, whose Hollywood home is protected by, quote, armed response security systems. Like Michael Moore, whose bodyguard was arrested for carrying a gun in an airport. And like Senator Dianne Feinstein, who said Mr. and Mrs. America turn them all in, even as she kept a concealed carry permit for her own. That's textbook hypocrisy. And it's also dangerous. It's dangerous because it sacrifices our safety for their ideology. The truth is, armed defense saves innocent lives, and denying that right gets good people killed. So in the face of this kind of political dishonesty, we stand and we fight. That's why when Obama's pick for Surgeon General said gun ownership should be treated like a disease, we fought back. The NRA's 5 million members told the truth, that Vivek Murthy would be a prescription for disaster. This fight isn't over, but NRA members are the only reason this guy's not the Surgeon General right now, so thank you. Of course, Obama's pick for Surgeon General isn't the only problem. His Attorney General, Eric Holder, he's even worse. Just last year, Holder tried to equate self-defense with gun violence. Here's what he said. It's time to question laws that senselessly expand the concept of self-defense and sow dangerous conflict in our neighborhoods. Really. I have a message for Eric Holder. Self-defense is not a concept. It's a fundamental human right. You didn't give it to us, and you're sure as hell not going to take it away from us. Oh, and as for sowing dangerous conflict in our neighborhoods, that's a ridiculous accusation coming from you after your department sent guns to Mexican drug lords who used them to murder our Border Patrol agents. Congress was right to hold you in contempt, and you should have been fired a long time ago. But Obama won't fire him because he agrees with him. Not that he'll admit it. Do you remember on the campaign trail when he told us that he wouldn't take away our shotguns, rifles, or handguns? If you like them, you can keep them. Yeah, we've heard that one before. And if you think his universal health care is a disaster, how do you think his universal gun registration would work out? The truth is, gun control is the unfinished business of Barack Obama's presidency, and it's up to us to stop him. My friends, the battle lines have been drawn, and they couldn't be clearer. It's our values versus their values. Our vision of America the free versus Michael Bloomberg's vision of America the nanny state. Our patriotism versus Eric Holder's betrayal of the Constitution. Our God-given right to keep and bear arms versus Michael Bloomberg's mission to take away our guns and transform this country into something we won't even recognize. Right now, we face the most well-funded, well-coordinated attack in the history of the Second Amendment. Think about that, the biggest attack on this freedom in over 200 years. Our opponents want to make it socially unacceptable for anyone to own a gun for any reason. Instead of spending millions of dollars to teach safe and responsible gun ownership like we do, they push an agenda of fear and hatred. Instead of supporting programs that protect our kids at school like we do, they push gun-free zones, which only encourage criminals and psychopaths. No matter what they say, their agenda does not prevent violent crime. We have the truth on our side, but it's up to us to make sure the truth wins, and that requires political action. When the Maryland legislature was pushing a ban on semi-autos, 15-year-old Sarah Merkle decided to stand up and make her voice heard, so she went to Annapolis and testified against the bill. That's political action. When New Jersey was rushing through a ban on magazines, 9-year-old Shyanne Roberts traveled to Trenton to testify in opposition. That's political action. They're here. We're honored to have them here. Sarah and Shyanne, please wave to the crowd. Thank you. In Colorado, they pushed magazine bans and criminalized private transfers of gun sales, even a loan to a neighbor. When Colorado NRA members tried to have their voices heard, they had the door of democracy slammed in their faces. But our brothers and sisters would not be silenced. They formed grassroots groups like the Basic Freedom Defense Fund and Pueblo Freedom and Rights. This movement wasn't started by campaign professionals. It was started by tradesmen. They had almost no political experience, but they didn't let that stop them. Local businesses like Merkle stood on principle and provided critical support to NRA members and gun owners. Patriots like Eric and Sean from Blue Corps turned their shooting range into a headquarters where NRA members and activists could organize. And through long hours, hard work, and dedication in the face of dug-in opposition, that handful of regular folks sparked a grassroots fire. And at the end of the day, for the first time in Colorado history, they recalled 2 sitting state legislators. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming a few of those patriots who are here today. The men and women of Pueblo Freedom and Rights, the Basic Freedom Defense Fund, Merkle, and our friends from the Blue Corps Shooting Center. Please stand up so we can all thank you. Friends, while the national news media may refuse to admit it, that's who we are, average Americans. We're tradesmen, small business owners, doctors, lawyers, first responders, and military heroes. We're men and women, moms and dads from every race, creed, social, economic, and political background. We're blue collar, white collar, and no collar. We want less food stamps and more hunters for the hungry. We'd like less Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and more Duck Dynasty. We're Republican, Democrat, Independent, and most days, none of the above. We're defined by our diversity, but we're united by our belief in the Second Amendment that keeps our families safe and our country free. My friends, as Americans, we're born with more freedom than any people in history. But to keep it, we must have the courage to be free. The courage to be free. That's the title of our great president, Charlton Heston's powerful book. In it, he laid out 10 covenants of courage. 1, find ways to influence government in all of its forms. 2, be willing to disobey. 3, take absolute and resolute pride in your own values. 4, defend America as the peerless ideal, period. 5, fiercely preserve all the rights outlined in the Bill of Rights. 6, find the way to your loudest possible voice and speak. 7, embrace change. 8, find myriad avenues to pass on your convictions. 9, accept that sacrifice is just part of the deal. And 10, commit to the daily process of private prayer. Friends, that's our playbook, and that's what it takes to win. Because every so often, every few generations, there comes a time when we're asked to make enormous sacrifices for freedom. And when that happens, it falls to a small group of people to recognize what's at stake and to defend freedom as if they're defending their very lives. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those moments. That group of people is you, and that time is right now. So stand up if you have the courage to be free. Follow the lead of these patriots in Colorado who took the jobs of the politicians who took their freedom. Stand up if you love America. Stand up if you think this freedom's worth fighting for. Stand and fight and let history remember that when Barack Obama and Michael Bloomberg tried their damnedest to destroy this country, you made the difference. You stood up for our values. You stood up for our heritage. You stood up for freedom. And because you did, you saved this country. God bless you. God bless the National Rifle Association.